5 years ago, I decided to myself, I'm going to rebuild a flooded Tesla Model S. Car's over here. But instead of putting in the same old boring electric drivetrain, I'm going to put an LS in it. Why an LS? Because if I wanted something quiet with no feedback and boring, I'd call your mom. Obviously, I'm just kidding, guys. EVs are fine. I have a Rivian. I don't want all the leased Model 3 owners after me. Anyways, before we go any further, I want to drop this thing because I hate the way cars look when they're jacked up. I'm a big stance guy, in case you didn't know. I decided this would be a fantastic idea if I were to take this Tesla Model S that was flooded in sewage and all kinds of disgusting stuff in Texas, rebuild it into a cooler car. And that we did. In the very first few episodes, what I did was I took my daughter and I, risked her life. We actually pressure washed the inside of this hazmat. Focus on the car, dude. I'm not good looking. Really though, I wanted to make a statement. There's 100,000 of these same exact cars everywhere. You want to do something cool, and that's kind of my job. So you know what? I decided let's put an LS in it. We picked up an engine and transmission out of a Camaro SS from Lee C Parts. We bought a donor Tesla for parts I needed for the conversion, swapped over all the wiring harnesses to the new car, cut the car in half for the transmission tunnel, welded the transmission tunnel, then put the engine in, and well, that's it. I mean, I think I'm missing a few steps, but I don't want people getting too bored for this whole thing. On the dyno, it made about 440 horsepower in stock form, just an intake pretty much. But after that, it went to SEMA, and I kind of lost track of the car since then.
I lost something once. I lost something I couldn't live without.
So what we did after SEMA, I went down to Ocala, Florida for the Generation 2 upgrade. Generation 2 involved a forged sort block. We have a stroker kit, 416 stroker. We have the Magnuson supercharger, new injectors, plugs, wires, brand new high flow capacity radiator, a whole bunch of stuff, brand new clutch. And after that, it kind of sat. No one really had the time to focus on the major other areas that it needed. So unfortunately, I lost track of the car. I had no room up here with the shop, so it kind of stayed down there for a while until someone actually had the chance to work on it. Then after a while, we ran out of room at the shop in Ocala, Electrified Garage, and the car spent a couple years at Freddie Tavares' shop, just kind of sitting there. He made some content off it, taking it some places, and then a year and a half after that, Chris Fix took the car for a bit to make his April Fool's video. And the car's been kind of passed around different places. I saw more content about this car when it was on the road than when I actually had it in my own hands. So the sad part was other people have driven this car and put more miles on it and worked on it than I ever have. So that's something I'm trying to work on in the future. We definitely need more room for stuff up here. I'm thinking of purchasing something a little bit larger to get more of the projects home-based. But I did lose control of the car for many years. So a lot of these things I'm not familiar with. I didn't put these bits and pieces on. It went to a few speed shops. They tinkered with it, got bored with it, made their content, and then put it someplace else. And unfortunately now, we're stuck with it and we have to pick up all the broken pieces. So it's kind of bittersweet having the car here. I've missed it terribly, but it's a very different car than what I'm used to. For the first iteration, I've had my hands on the car from start to finish. But now for the next generation, I'm not familiar with a lot of things that were done to it now. So now we have to reverse engineer a lot of things, go through the car, figure out what's wrong, figure out the overheating issues, figure out a bunch of other things. But first, what I want to do is take it for an actual drive. But before we go for the first drive, let's talk about Squarespace. It has tons of web page tools to help with your needs and all these awesome page templates to match your style. But you can also start a completely personalized website with the new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. You can choose from professionally curated layout and styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. It's tailored to your brand or business and optimized for every device. You can launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. They also offer flexible payments. You can make checkout seamless for your customers with simple but powerful payment tools. You can take credit cards and PayPal and Apple Pay, and in some eligible countries, offer customers the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay and ClearPay. Head to www.squarespace.com/richrebuilds to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using the code in the description box below. Shout out to Squarespace for making platforms with people's passions, no matter how crazy they are. Let's drive this thing. Yeah, it feels weird driving this for sure because, again, the last time I drove this was from New York to Boston many years ago. And again, it's one of those weird things that, everyone gets a turn with it. Everyone gets to make all the cool viral clips. And then I'm kind of stuck with the bag. It needs an alignment. It needs a whole bunch of stuff. And this is what it is, It needs a good tune. The first time it was tuned was before the supercharger. I installed that supercharger quite some time ago, and it's never been officially tuned. We ran into a bunch of weird issues. This person looked at it, this person looked at it, went to a bunch of different speed shops. It never, had its full realized potential. The shifter can be a little bit notchy sometimes, which is why I think it's better off for a different application. But man, yeah, it's sputtering. It needs a lot of work, but I think we could sort this pretty easily. Again, most of the suspension is just Tesla stuff. Nothing really special or crazy or out of the ordinary. It aligns the same way as any other normal Tesla Model S would. And that's why I'm glad we kept the majority of the suspension components, because if we didn't, we would run into a lot bigger issues. And this kind of brings up us bringing the Hellcat minivan. When we built that, a lot of people complained and said, oh, you're not doing it right. You should have done it this way instead. And, you should have built a whole new custom chassis for it and all that stuff. And it's just like, well, honestly, realistically, no one had the time for that. We wanted to get something out there quick, before someone else did it. Boom, we did it, there we go. And slowly over time, we could work on improving it. But, Ice-T, this car is a testament as to what we can really do on the channel. And I'll tell you, remember, this is a V1 car. This is a version 1 car. The second we built it, it literally drove into SEMA under its own power. And there's plenty of builds that go to SEMA, but they don't drive in or out of SEMA. This car was in the parade. This is a V1 car. No shakedown, nothing. We just started driving it. And so I'm pretty proud of the way it came out. It has power steering and everything, and I don't know, it still kind of impresses me for what this car is. The air suspension. This car has air suspension, and I kind of do want to get rid of the air suspension in a way. It is really cool to see the car so slammed, but at the same time, I like the ride feeling of a coil car a lot more. On the inside, we did a really, really clean install on this. The air compressors are actually under the seat. So we have just as much room as we had before. All the air compressors and wiring and valve blocks are under the seat. And it's just, again, you can't even tell it's there. Super proud of this build. On the back, we have the radium fuel cell. We have 1 lift pump and 3 fuel pumps. This thing is built to take, all the horsepower you throw at it. But again, another really clean build we did in the back. We want it to look as clean and as OEM as possible. Because honestly, once you approach this vehicle in like a public setting, we don't want people to realize that it's actually gas powered. Obviously ignoring the giant supercharger sticking out of the hood. But on the inside here, we have the fuel fill. On the other side, we have the main power cutoff switch. So we actually were able to build this main power cutoff. So when people complain and they say to themselves, hey, you know what? We don't like the Hellcat minivan. You just did a body swap. We are capable of literally doing anything, hence this project. We wanted that one to go by a lot quicker to keep people's interest levels up. We wanted to have some fun with it, but this is what we'd more consider of a quality build where you take your time. This build, I want to remind you guys, it took multiple years to accomplish. And unfortunately, in the TikTok generation where people's attention spans are like goldfish, there's no way we could have sustained that minivan build for that amount of years and still have people interested at the very end. Now, people are going to say in the comments, well, Rich, I like watching it. The numbers don't prove that. Very few of you actually enjoy watching that. So this is what we had to do with the minivan, unfortunately. But for builds like this, they take a lot longer time. Like my name's not even here.
Is it not?
No,
Not even in the options?
no,
Oh, the valet mode, that's you.
that's me, exactly. It's awkward, man, but it's not really like, it doesn't feel like my car anymore, you know? It's been passed around so many times, I don't even know this car anymore, but we're gonna change that. Man, this feels so crazy to look at. Literally haven't looked under this car in years and years, and I will say, you know, throughout everything, it held up really, really well. We had to make some minor changes along the way, some minor reinforcements to the rear subframe, just to keep that rear diff in check. We were doing burnouts one time, and the stock Tesla subframe got a crack in it, so we sent it out to get some reinforcements welded. But man, this is nostalgia and a half. I remember getting this custom-made drive shaft, and it was a fortune, and I'm just like, man, how am I gonna afford this thing? And it's been sitting there for years now. We have the custom oval exhaust, and we did this for clearance reasons. We didn't want to risk bottoming out on the underside of the car, which we ended up doing anyways. That's kind of dinged and dented up. There's some scrapes there. There's a dent right here. But if we went with the full circular, it would have been a lot worse. So we put oval tubing there instead. I mean, this looks, if you're under this, you couldn't tell it was a Tesla. This looks like a car with an aftermarket exhaust. So much work and so much engineering went into this, it's not even funny. I think there was an entire 1,000-pound battery pack here. And we pulled it out. We had to run, you know, new brake lines, new air lines. This is the air line for the air suspension. We had to add additional brackets with the transmission mount. People don't think about that. How do you actually mount a transmission in a car that has a flat floor? This looks like it was made with the car. Like, we cut this entire thing out. This car obviously did not have a transmission tunnel before. The Tesla oil filter, we had the short oil pan on there because the original oil pan hung down a lot lower than this, and we were afraid of it scraping. Like the VW guys do, they'll have those oil pans that stick down way too low, and they'll just smash the oil pan over a curb. The other challenge too was also getting the power steering to work. So here we're using an electric power steering rack. This is literally the power steering rack out of a Tesla Model S. And there's a giant Chevy LS motor on top of it. It's just a weird thing to see. If you see here the hubs, this was originally an all-wheel drive car. So we still maintained the same hubs from there because we figured it was a lot easier and cheaper to do it that way. All stainless steel brake lines. What a wild thing to see. I'm so used to looking underneath Hellcats at this point. It's been so long that I haven't looked underneath this car. It doesn't even feel like my car. It feels like it's someone else's car in the shop. My business partner, he's taken it to shows, and I would get messages from people saying, hey, I saw your car there. I didn't even know it was gonna be there. It's such a weird, it did not feel like my car for a very long time. Very long time. So it definitely feels good to have it back home for sure. Big debate is this, does the oval exhaust stay? I'm not 100% sure. What I do like about this exhaust is I do like these tips. Mm-hmm. Those tips are super stealth. I do like that. What the car does need is it needs more bracing on the undercarriage. So the good thing is we still kept these holes. This is where the battery mounted to the rest of the chassis. So I'm not really sure if we could form some kind of shallow X pattern to prevent the car, from flexing too much. But there's definitely a need for a significant amount of cross bracing here. So I don't know if it goes from here to the transmission mount, and then from here it spreads out, or does it just connect directly from side to side? I don't really know. That's something we're gonna have to do some debating on, but it definitely needs some reinforcement underneath. Unfortunately, this transmission does have to come out. I would like to change the shifter to more of an H pattern setup. Because we don't have a sequential transmission, it makes less sense pushing in the clutch and shifting up and down every time. So we definitely want to get something in there that makes a little bit more sense for this application. It's not a race car, it's more of a daily driver. So this is gonna have to come out, transmission's gonna come down, and the pattern format has to get swapped back to an H. Air suspension, was never a huge fan of that. The reason why we have air suspension in this car is because when it was getting ready to go to SEMA for the first time, we were under such a time crunch that we could not get the correct suspension for the car in time. So we happened to have an air suspension kit laying around, so we used that, and honestly, it was perfect for the show. I remember Chad and I, we probably stayed up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning putting that air suspension in, because the next day, the truck was coming to pick this car up to bring it to SEMA. Actually, that's not true. The first year, we drove it out to SEMA, but we knew that we had to get it out of there so fast that if we were a few hours late, we wouldn't have made it in time. We knew that the travel time out there was going to be between 2 and 3 days, and we just said, you know what, let's just go for it. But we knew we had to leave the very next day. So we were up till who knows what time in the morning, making sure the air suspension was in. But I've never been a huge fan of air suspension, especially for larger cars. I know it looks really cool, but we're definitely gonna go back to a static coil setup here. So this entire air system's gonna come out. All the suspension bushings are brand new for this. You know, the goal was to bring this to Jay Leno, and we gotta make sure it's safe before it gets there. So everything, suspension's pretty much all brand new on this. Bushings, mounts, drive shaft bushings are brand new because that was just built. This is, it feels surreal. So this is the engine bay of the mighty Ice-T. And before we go any further, I want to show you guys an example of us firing the parts cannon. So we thought we had an issue with the car sputtering. We thought it was the spark plug wires. So again, we did fire the parts cannon and got these brand new spark plug wires to help diagnose the issue. Turns out that wasn't the problem, but I have to send those back. I'm going to send them back using, drumroll please, ShipStation. Now ShipStation, easiest, simplest, most convenient way to get your products out on time. Before you know it, you're managing orders like a professional. You're printing out discounted shipping labels like a professional. ShipStation also works with carriers like USPS, FedEx, UPS, and even international. You can compare and choose the best shipping solution every time. They even offer big discounts on shipping costs, and you can access the same postage and discounts that are usually reserved for large Fortune 500 companies. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/richrebuilds to sign up for your free trial. That's shipstation.com/richrebuilds. So there's a problem with Ice-T. The car has been shutting off due to it overheating, and we're trying to figure out why. We're like, why is the temp gauge reading so high? What I wanted to was I wanted to actually verify as to whether or not that temperature gauge within the car and the Haltech system is accurate. So I'm going to get this temp gun pointed at the various parts of the radiator to see whether or not it's cooling, if there's a sensor calibration issue, or if there's a problem with the thermostat. We don't really know which one's which. So when I point this gun at the hose, I'm getting about 238, 237 degrees. So I would venture to say that that might be right, actually. So the whole engine's getting super hot. Okay, no, 275, right, 265. Let's check the other hose. 143, 140. $120. So what did that tell us? That tells us it is getting cool. If the thermostat is stuck and it's not allowing coolant into the back of the engine, that would be why. That seems like it would be it. So the radiator is doing its job. It looks like the engine isn't really getting cooled. It could be an air pocket as well.